Hi, everyone. Welcome to the fourth session of the Journey Builder series. And thank you, everyone, for your continued passion and commitment to learn. So this is about the series. Now, this is a three-part series. We are now doing the fundamentals series. So we have 8 sessions lined up for this fundamental series, and followed by this is the deep dive series, wherein we'll be covering the advanced features of the Journey Builder and some use cases attached to this. And also parallelly, we are also doing the hands-on sessions. These sessions, the fundamentals and the deep dive sessions, they happen every Tuesday and Thursday. And all the hands-on sessions, they happen every Wednesday. So this is a list of all the sessions that are being scheduled. So in the fundamental series, there are 8 sessions that are being scheduled, and we already covered the first 3 sessions. And today we have Michelle covering few activities from the Journey Builder. In the first 1 and 2 sessions, we have looked at various activities that are available in the Journey Builder. So in the following sessions, we are going to cover each of these activities and entry sources in detail. So in this session, we're going to look at all the messaging activities, the advertising activities, and the sales and service activities that are available out of the box in the Journey Builder. And in the next session, that is next Thursday, Sandesh is going to cover the flow control activities. So we also did an overview of all the flow control activities that are available within the Journey Builder. So we're going to look at these in detail. And this is the list of all the upcoming sessions in the fundamental series. And after the fundamental series is done, so every Tuesday and Thursday, we are having these series. And by September 3rd, we'll be done with this fundamental series. After that, every Tuesday and Thursday, continuation to those, we have advanced sessions. So Jacob is going to cover about the MCP related use case, and Matthias about the Salesforce CRM related use case. So similarly, we have few other sessions that are lined up, which are advanced, and it is more creating custom activities, or out of the besides the out of the box features that are available. It's like integrating TikTok or the WhatsApp, or utilizing the mobile use cases, and so on. So all these events have been published, and you can find them on the Phoenix Marketers group. If anybody needs the link, let me know. I will share the link in the chat. And in parallel, we are having these hands-on sessions every Wednesday. So these hands-on sessions are basically like a detailed demo implementation sessions, wherein one builder will get an access to the org, and they will get the opportunity to build along with us. And if you have access to the org, you can also build in that org parallelly while we are doing that in the live demo. So this is all these are all the sessions that are being lined up, and they have been published, and you can register to all of them from the Phoenix Marketers group. And these sessions are all recorded and uploaded to the MC Learning Camp YouTube channel. And I believe you're all part of the Slack channel. And if you want to volunteer to become the builder for the hands-on sessions, let us know. Or you can also fill out this form to let us know your interest. So here's the Phoenix Marketers group. I'll be sharing this link shortly. So here you will find all the sessions. There are around like 35 sessions in total planned in the Journey Builder series. So in order to identify which session relates to what series, you can look at this icon here, Journey Builder Fundamentals and Journey Builder Hands-on Sessions. For the deep dive as well, there is a different icon used. So if you load more, you will see all the activities that are published. So the deep dive, you can identify with a different color. So all these sessions can be found on this user group. And the recorded sessions will be uploaded to the MC Learning Camp YouTube channel. Any questions, let us know in the chat, and we will answer them at the end of the session. And any questions after the session, please feel free to post them on the Slack channel. So we'll be happy to answer them all. And today I welcome Michelle. Michelle has been our regular speaker, and she has been amazing, and she has been sharing all her knowledge with us. And thank you, Michelle, for coming and joining us for the Journey Builder series. I will turn it over to you, Michelle. Take it over, please.
Great. Thanks, JB. Let me share my screen. JB, I'm not sure if I can share. It's not
You
letting
have the
me.
access. You have the
Let
access.
me try again. Okay, yep. I see it now. Thank you. Hi. Right, everyone. As mentioned, welcome to day 4. So I'll be covering the activities, the messages, the advertising, and the sales and service cloud activities as well in Journey Builder. I'm Michelle Medina. I'm happy to be here. As JB mentioned, I've participated in the previous boot camps, and I'm excited to walk through some of the Journey Builder features with you. So today, as I mentioned, we'll start with the messaging activities. We'll go through all of them, but mostly I'll dive a little bit deeper into the more commonly used ones. So we'll go through email just to call out a few here. In-app, push notification, SMS. We'll go through the 2 advertising activities, and then we'll go through the sales and service cloud activities. And then after we walk through that, we'll jump right into the marketing cloud platform and build out a journey using some of these activities. So these activities, I think, serve a wide purpose, right? So, the email activities, SMS, even the sales and service cloud activities, we can have this omni-channel engagement, right? So, you can have your brand awareness, right? So send promotional emails, send promotional SMS messages, newsletters, event invitations. You can have drip campaigns. They also serve an operational and transactional purpose. So you can have order confirmations, password resets, billing and invoice statements, any security alerts, any legal and policy updates as well. And then they also give you the ability to have this personalization, right? So you can personalize your messages. For example, you can, include names. You can have location or region-based personalization. Then you can also have those triggered emails, right? So an abandoned cart or any birthday promotions. These activities serve a huge wide variety of purposes, and just wanted to call out a few. So to jump right into what the full list of activities are. So if you're looking at inside your journey, you create a new journey. On the left-hand side, you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the activities section. So you'll have your messages section. So on the left-hand side, you'll see that email, you'll see the in-app message, you'll see the inbox, you'll see your line message, you'll see the push notification activity, the SMS activity, and then the 2 WhatsApps activities. So the WhatsApp chat and then the WhatsApp session transfer. Then below that, you should see your advertising activities. So those are your ad audience and your ad campaign activities. And then right below that, and on this slide, it's on the right, you'll see your sales and service cloud. So you have quite a few activities here. I did want to call out that most of these individual object activities you see here, so the account, contact, lead, case, those are more of legacy activities. The object activity, which you actually see at the bottom left, is the most recent activity and is more performant. So, even just, speaking with Salesforce and Salesforce Marketing Cloud support and experts, they do prefer that folks do use this object activity rather than the individual objects. Like I said, it's more performant, it's a more recent activity that's been added to the Journey Builder. And if you're actually building in a new journey, you won't really see those old individual object activities anymore. All right, so let's just dive deeper into the email activity itself, right? So some of those benefits about the email activity is it's easy to build an email in Content Builder, right? With our drag and drop features, you're also able to add any dynamic content. You can do some A/B content testing within your email. And then you also have the compliance and security features, right? With your send classifications, we're honoring GDPR, honoring the subscribes opt out, right? So all this, building an email, that's still pulled into your email activity within a journey. Then you also have the ability for, more basic and advanced personalization within your email. So using personalization strings or AMP script. Some of the considerations is, right, so, for more of that complex personalization that you build within an email, you do need to be comfortable with AMP script. And then also any updates to email that you're doing in the content builder doesn't directly translate into the journey activity. So you would have to, repause, come back in, update it, then restart the journey. So the email activity is really good for any automated email messaging. You have that personalized, you can target your audience, a segmented audience that you want to target. Could be real time. You could also schedule and batch depending on the journey schedule and the entry source. And then also you have visibility into analytics and reporting within those emails as well. So just to look at those other messages activities. So we have the in-app message. So what an in-app message is, it's really like a full page or a window or a banner message that's sent to your users of your mobile app. And that message appears when the user actually opens the app. So once they open the app, they'll see that message that you've configured. So if it's either a window or a banner message, once they open it, you'll see that. And that's typically used, to announce offers or invite users to take a survey, encourage them, to turn on your push notifications or turn on your location settings. And then the other activity right below that is the inbox activity. So the app inbox activity has two message options. So you can do the alert and the inbox, which is a push alert and a message to the app inbox, or you can just do the inbox only. So it sends a message to the app inbox. So that'll then, once the customer opens that message, it'll direct them to more of a mobile optimized page. It's typically a cloud page. And then these inbox activities are typically used for, you want to add more information alongside your push notification. So for example, you can do an order confirmation or an upcoming event. And then we have the line message activity. So this is really, you can use, some build a multi-content builder message, including video or an image, audio, or, you also use a text message or a carousel within line messaging. So for those who may not be familiar with Line, it is a social, messaging app. So Journey Builder has a direct integration with that. And then we also have push notifications. So push notifications triggers really a push notification to mobile devices of your app users, right? So those are typically used for time-sensitive information, re-engagement campaigns, transactional updates, any reminders are good examples of when to use push notifications. So just to finish up with the last three activities, you'll see the SMS activity. So as mentioned, you're sending an SMS message to your mobile customers. And then again, this can be used for a variety of purposes, but really some examples include, any time-sensitive information, multi-factor authentication, personalized offers, any order or delivery updates, event reminders as well. Then we have two WhatsApp activities. So the WhatsApp activity really has two types of messages. So you have a template message, which is like, a business transaction. Then you have session messages, which is in response to a user-initiated conversation. So you can use those template messages for, the transactional messages, any marketing messages as well, or again, any account security related messages as well. And then the WhatsApp session transfers the WhatsApp conversation to Service Cloud interaction. So again, it's typically used for when, most are customer service scenarios, you want to transfer that information and that history, the conversation history into Service Cloud. Then we'll jump to the advertising activity. So there's two of those within your journey. You'll have the ad audience. So that's building marketing cloud audiences for, your advertising destination. So that could be used for Facebook, X, Google AdWords, or LinkedIn. And then we have the ad campaign activity. So that creates an advertising campaign without having to leave Journey Builder. So you create the ad audience and a Facebook advertising campaign. So this ad campaign activity only does support Facebook, but you wouldn't have to leave Journey Builder to create the ad audience and also that advertising campaign. All right, so now we'll jump to the sales and service cloud activities. So again, you'll see that further down your journey on the left-hand side. And then I'm highlighting here the object activity. As mentioned, those individual object activities are more of legacy activities, and it is, best practice and preferred to use this object activity as its most recent activity that's been added to the journey. So some of those benefits really is that you can update or create a record in an object. You could also do that for custom objects. So it does support standard and custom objects. As mentioned, it's the preferred, more best practice to use this activity rather than those individual object activities. So for example, if you wanted to update an account record, instead of using that account activity that you might still see on your journey, it's preferred to use this object activity. And then also you do have to have the Marketing Cloud Connect configured to have even access to these sales and service cloud activities. If you were to, if you don't have that connected and you were to click or try to configure one, you don't really have access to it at all. You'll get some sort of, access issue error. And then some considerations is that when you copy a sales or service cloud activity, so if you are, let's say you've configured an object activity already and you want to copy it and use it again, you do have to configure the activity all over again. And then also you just have to consider API limits. So this is, using the SOAP API. So again, just consider that when you're building out these journeys that may include these sales and service cloud activities. So the object activity, right, it's good for, we have this seamless integration and automation between Marketing Cloud and Salesforce CRM. You could eliminate manual tasks that your, service team or a sales team has to typically do, but with these activities, you're able to just automate those tasks. And then you can also have these highly personalized customer communications, right? You have a data consistency between now Marketing Cloud and Salesforce. You're having the data coming from Salesforce. You're able to just have that personalized customer communication. And we'll just walk through the rest of these activities. Again, as I mentioned, these are mostly the legacy activities. So definitely use the object activity when you're, want to create or update one of these individual objects, but we just wanted to walk you through to get a better understanding of what they really are. So as mentioned, the account activity, it creates a new account or it can update an existing account. Like I said, mostly you'll see in this used when column, definitely use the object activity instead. And then the campaign member activity. So you can create a new campaign member or update an existing campaign member. And again, depending on your use case and what that journey and your requirements, use the object activity, you can use the campaign activity, or you can use the convert lead activity if that's what makes sense for your journey as well. Then you have the case activity. So that creates a new case or updates an existing case record. And then you have the contact activity. Similarly, it creates a new contact or you can update an existing contact. And as mentioned, the object activities, and we'll actually walk through that in the, we can walk through that in a journey platform or in the journey itself, but you're able to find all of your standard and custom objects within that object activity. So again, these individual objects, more of those legacy activities. And then you have a convert lead activity. So that really just, converts a lead in your system into a contract or an account. So you want to convert those qualified leads. So, make sure to set the configuration correctly, make sure that the, lead status and is all making sense before you actually do configure it. You have to configure what that qualification means to you and your business. So just make sure that's correctly configured. Then you can also create a related opportunity and task with this convert lead. So it's a great feature to have that as well. And then just the 3 other activities within the sales and service section is the lead activity. So again, you can create a new lead or update an existing, and that object activity will do that for you as well. Then you have the opportunity, which is similar, right? You'll create a new one or can update an existing opportunity record. And you have tasks. So again, it'll create a new task or update an existing task record as well. And as mentioned, typically it's best practice to use that object activity. So I think right now we can jump into the platform itself. So we'll jump into Marketing Cloud here, and we'll actually go into Journey Builder. Hoping everyone can see this. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit. All right, so we'll just create a new journey from scratch here. First, let me just duplicate this and I'll show you first the email, right? So you'd have to build your email within Content Builder to be able to use that email in an email activity. So if we go to Email Studio, just for timing purposes, we do have that email already built, but I can show you what that looks like. All right. So you can see here we have our email. You even see here we have, a very simple personalization, but definitely personalized emails. It's a great way to go, especially if you want to connect more with your customer and have a higher engagement. So we're pulling in just the customer's first name. So you'll see here we've built this email. We have our email set. We can even just, if you wanted to preview and test it here, you could, but you could actually also open this email builder within the journey, which I can show you as well. So I just wanted to show you quickly what that email looks like. So if we go to Journey Builder, create a new journey, we can do multi-step, so you can name your journey. Activities. Then we'll, need an entry source. So we'll just put in a data extension entry source for now. Last week, Tim did go through these entry sources. If you did miss it, you can catch it on YouTube. He walks through all of these entry sources in great detail. So let me just choose a data extension that I have already built, and it's really just more of a send for myself. Go. We'll click done. We won't need to filter any contacts here. Then if we scroll down, you'll see the email activity. So then you can just really just drag it. You actually, once you click into it, you actually can create a new email. Might have said that you might have to create it in Content Builder before. I think it's just a preferred method, right? You have a little bit more flexibility within building it. You do have all the features there, but maybe it's just a preferred method of mine. But again, so you could create your new message here, select an already existing message. And you can name your activity if you wanted. So we'll just say intro email. Then we'll just click on select message, since we already have that message built. And then we'll click the email that we want to configure. Then you'll see on the left-hand side, there's the message definition, which is what we just selected. And then there's this message configuration. So again, this is your send classification that does have to be pre-built before using it in the journey builder. We just have a default one. We have a bunch of test ones here in this demo org. So we'll just select our sender profile name. That's Cervello next, and then we will leave the delivery profile as is. And then you'll see at the bottom is our subject and our pre-header. So our subject, again, it is pulled in from the email. You can change it if you wanted to. And again, as you see here, it gives you that message, right? So if you update the subject here, it only updates the subject for this send. If you wanted to update it in default, you do have to go actually edit the email as well. And similarly with the pre-header. So it'll only update the pre-header for this email send and not for the email itself. And then we have the delivery options. So this is how you manage who receives your email. And again, if you've sent in, even email in the email builder, you do see these features as well, but it's great to see that also here that you have the ability to configure this in your journey as well. So if you could see, we'll keep it our publication list, we'll have a subscriber list, but again, excuse me, you can have a suppression list, your domain exclusion, any exclusion script as well. Then you can even have a delivery window if you wanted to just set an email, have it delivered during a specific time. You don't want to reach customers too early in the morning or too late in the evening. You can set your timing there. So if I show you what that looks like, right? So you'll have your start time and your end time, and the journey will only send the email during this time period. So let's say, you could have a customer, if you have this scheduled email hourly, right? And a customer could technically, enter the data extension, enter the journey at 10 p.m., but your delivery window ends at 9. It's going to be queued up till the next available start time. So it's in the queue, and then it'll actually send during the set time period there. We'll leave that as is for now. And then you also have an hourly threshold. So this is great for more of email throttling. Again, you have the ability to just choose how many emails you do want to send per hour. And then you have your tracking. So your tracking, you can track clicks, you can, suppress this from the send report, you can retain this data in your send log, and then you can also send your tracking results to Sales Cloud. Again, the Marketing Cloud Connect does have to be configured to have those features available. Then you can also add a campaign if you needed to. And then your advanced options, you have a message priority, so there's medium, low, high. Typically it's defaulted to medium, which is, typically it's left as is. Unless it is a high message priority, you can move that as to high. And then also you have a few more, so you can add a keyword. Will provide a text version of your email if the email client doesn't support any HTML email. And then also you can disable API calls. And then if you wanted to add any other recipients, you're able to do that here as well. All right, so we go back, if we click on this summary, it'll really just give you the summary of what we just configured, right? So you'll see you have the Journey Builder Bootcamp email here. You can show more, so it'll see when you created it, who was it created by. You could actually have different options here. So you can select a new message if you missed it, you need to change that message. You can edit the message, you can edit its properties, or you can create a new message. And you can also preview and test. So if you actually click on this preview and test, it really brings that same email builder content or features that you see within email builder right into Journey Builder. So you don't really have to leave Journey Builder if you don't prefer. So you can see here we're just testing as well, right? So you'll see my data extension here, first name, and you'll see that it's pulling in Michelle. So it's definitely good to test your emails, especially if they do have personalization in it within your journey before activating that journey. So we were to go back here, again, you see all the different, you can really edit your email right here without having the need to leave Journey Builder. So if we go back up top, let's just save this. Back. We'll go back to that summary screen. And again, it gives you more of those details of the configurations that we had, right? So you can see we have our send classification, you'll see the subject, and then you'll see the delivery options here. And then again, you'll see those advanced options as well. So if you click done, right? So we have our email activity configured, that's ready to go. So for this journey, what we'd like to do is actually, what's the use case here really could be, let's say we have leads coming in and we want to send them just a welcome introduction email of, hey, we can help with your banking needs, just reach out to us, we can contact you and see what solutions are best for you. But we also want to add a task for our sales reps that use Sales Cloud to say, hey, you have a new lead, and let's reach out to them via a phone call or an email if they don't reach out to us in, let's say 2 days. But we want to automate that, right? So instead of having to see, hey, this lead I received an email, now I need to go create a task for myself to make sure I contact them within the time frame. This use case can automate that task for you. So, right, so we have the email, but now we need the sales and service cloud activities. So if we scroll down on our left, you'll see our activities here. And as mentioned, we're going to drag in that object activity, and we're going to drag it in right after the email. So again, we want to create this task that just alert the sales lead owner that, hey, they've received this email. Definitely, we'd like to reach out to them in 2 days if we haven't heard from them. So let's go into the object activity itself. If you click into it, you'll get all the configurations. So the first step is to select your object. So we want to create a task for our sales lead owner. So we're going to search task up here and click enter. Then you'll see your objects. So we'll click on task, that's standard task object, and click next. And then you'll have some of these actions that we'll need to configure. So you have the top setting is if we want to email the user. So when the object is created, really, or the record is created, we want to email the user who's assigned to the record, really. So we're gonna check that. So essentially, I'm going to assign the task to myself, and I should receive an email once that task is created and once that user has entered the email. So the next options are you can create a new record or you can update an existing one. For this use case, we are going to create a new record, but you do have the ability to find and update a new one. So let me just click in here to show you what that would look like before we go into the creating a new one. So to create a new one, you'd have to find a Salesforce lookup field. So really it's those unique IDs and be able to match them. So for this task object, you do have the activity ID, and then you'd have to match it to a marketing cloud attribute. So that could be within your contact data, right? So if you have any synchronized data extensions, but also it could be your journey data. For this use case, we didn't pull in a task ID, but again, if it was within your journey data, you're also able to configure that here. And then you also have options here for if multiple matching records are found, what do you want Salesforce to do, right? So we can create a new record if multiple are found, we can update the last modified, or we don't want to update any. And then if no records are found, you also have the ability to create a new one or do not update. So just wanted to show you quickly what that looked like. But for this use case, we're going to create a new task record. So if I click on this new task record, on the bottom right, I'll click on next. And then they do, depending on your object that you choose to create a new or update, they do have recommended fields that you'd like to map. So let's start with this first one. So it's an assign to ID. So the assign to is really who are you assigning the task to? And for this use case, I'm going to use myself so I can receive that email. Then you'll have the option to do the system user, which is actually your API user. It's typically you want to assign it to some, either a sales group that's been created in Salesforce or a specific user. So for this use case, we'll do user. And then I'm going to search for myself, and I should come up right here. Yep. So you'll see I'm a Salesforce user within our org. So you'll see my user come up, and I'll click Michelle Medina. Then you also do have, let's say you didn't want to pull in a Salesforce user. You do again have the ability to map it to a marketing cloud attribute. And again, it could be your contact data and any synchronized data extensions, or for example, or your journey data as well. But for this use case, we have that Salesforce user in there. So we're going to assign that to myself. So we'll click save. Then we'll do the name ID. So the name ID is really who's the sales lead, right? Who's that lead that received that email? So for this use case, our data extension had that contact ID. So we're going to actually map it to the contact ID from our journey. So you'll see here, you'll click on your journey, and then you'll see all of really your data extension fields. You'll see we have that contact ID. Again, it's important to include, basically that subscriber key, which is typically your Salesforce ID, either if it's a contact or a lead ID. I guess a better label for this column should have been lead, but either way, you'll see that we have this contact ID here. And then once you click on your Marketing Cloud attribute, and for this use case, it's the data extension field, you'll see that this auto populates, and it's really saying this is your data extension audience, and it's pulling in that contact ID field that we chose. And if you can see, it's a little hard to tell that you've chosen it, but it does highlight a bit darker than your other fields. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes maybe if I'm staring at the screen for too long, you might not be able to tell, but it's there, and you'll see that populate on the left-hand side. So once we have that populated, you can click Save. Then we'll do subject. So you can type in a subject again, or on the right-hand side, include a Marketing Cloud attribute. But for this section, we'll just do, you have a new lead. We'll click Save. And then so you have our recommended fields updated. So let's actually walk through. So you'll see all the other fields for this task object available for you to update as well. I recommend updating, only what's necessary. So you'll see, let's also say, right, so we did say for our use case, we want to contact them within 2 days of them, within 2 days of them receiving that email. So we actually have a due date field on the task record or task object that we could configure. So let's just configure this. Once we find our fields, you'll see we have the due date only field. I clicked on it. Then again, you have the ability to enter a value or an attribute from Marketing Cloud. For this use case, we actually want to go based off when that contact actually enters the activity. So we chose that second option, and then you can adjust your days, right? So I said 2 days. So when that task is created, it should be, so today's the 20th, the due date on that task should be August 22nd. So let's click Save here. Then let's just do one more field. So let's say you wanted to give a better description of your task, right? So if you click on this field again, it shows you a text area long, so you're able to, have a good description there. Or again, have a Marketing Cloud attribute either within your contact data or your journey data. So let me just copy and paste a quick description here. Let's say we just wanted to type it in. So, let's just say this customer has received our introductory email. Ensure to reach out via phone call for a follow-up. We could click Save. All right, so now you see you have let's say for this use case, those are all the fields we really need to update for this journey in this use case. So you'll see here, if you didn't need a field, you can exit out on the right, or you can also come back and edit it. If you click Save, and then you'll see still your recommended fields at the top. Sometimes, depending on the object, they're mostly not, they're called required. So again, it does depend on the object itself. So if you click Next, we're really at the summary step, right? So here on the left-hand side, you see the activity name. So we can, leave it as is, or we can say phone call follow-up. And then you'll see the object that we want to use for this activity. And then we're creating a new one. And then we're going to email that user once the contact receives the email. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see all of our mapped fields, right? So we mapped the assigned to ID to myself, my Salesforce user. We are mapping the name to the contact ID, and then our subject, our due date, and then our description. So this is a great summary view. Once you've configured it, you have everything here. Make sure everything is configured correctly, and then you can click Done on the bottom right. And then we'll just save it. I typically like to save my journeys as often as I can. So let me just change this one day. Doesn't really matter for our use case, but typically just want the contact to exit the journey as immediate as possible. So we'll just change it to a minute. And then before we can actually activate this, I will schedule this. we'll just run it once for this use case. But again, you do have the ability to have it recurring. And if this data extension was actually tied to an automation, this automation option is clickable, where you can then configure it based off of that automation schedule. And then we'll just do it run once we activate it. Click done. Let's just check your journey settings. Just do re-entry only after exiting. But again, you have those abilities for your contact re-entry mode. Then I'll click save again. And then we can validate and activate it. Sometimes may take a few minutes, depending on really the complexity of your journey or the activities you're using. And you'll see here, we're ready for takeoff. So let's activate this journey. Okay, so once I do activate it shortly, within a minute or two, hopefully I should receive that email. So first, actually, I should receive the lead email. I did include myself within that data extension. And then I should also receive a Salesforce notification email really saying that I have a new task created that's assigned to me. So let's just give it a minute or two. You'll see here, right? This gives you a good status of, if they're evaluated and when and if they entered and they're accepted into the journey. Sometimes it doesn't update that quickly, so just need to go back a little bit. And yeah, we might just have to wait a minute. Just check the results. All right, so they're accepted. So I should receive these emails shortly. Let me just take a look. Okay, so let me share actually this email, because I think I'm only sharing my. Let me just share here. Okay, so let me show you what the emails look like, right? So let me pull this in. All right, so see, I received the email, right? Dear Michelle, we're ready to dig in and get to know your business. So here we go. We've gotten the lead email. So let me just show you what the sales owner email looks like, the lead owner looks like. So, and then we'll actually go into Salesforce and look at the task that was created itself. So let me pull this in. Right, so you can see here, you have a new lead. The API user, that's the user through the Marketing Cloud Connect, that's who sending the email. And then to myself, so they assigned you a new following task. You have a new lead. The due date, as you can see here, is August 22nd, 2 days, which is the day we configured. And then also any comments. So that's our description here. So this customer received our introductory email. Let's make sure to follow up via phone call. Then you actually can see here, they provide a link to your task. So if I click on that, should bring me to the task that was created. Awesome. So you can see here, right? This is the name, right? So remember we had that name ID configuration. We pulled in the contact ID from the data extension. So on the Marketing Cloud attribute, we went into the journey data extension and mapped it to our contact ID. So you can see it pulled in that contact ID. I've assigned it might be a little confusing, but I did assign it to myself as well. So this is actually the user. This is a contact that does have the same name. But then you can see here, right, our comments. So that's the description, the field that we pulled in and updated. And then you also see on the right-hand side is that due date. So again, we configured it to 2 days. You can see it pulls in that 2 days from when that customer entered the journey and received that email. Awesome. So last thing before we jump into any questions, I did just want to share some 5 tips about these activities. So let me just get this in slideshow. All right, so really wanted to share activities on most of the commonly used activities, and again, some of those activities that we saw today and we use in the journey. So for emails, and I mentioned this really, so if you any updates to the email, you have to restart that email, pause the journey and restart it after you make those edits. Also, if there's any email validation errors that are happening, just make sure that those personalization strings are, calling data values that are included and for this example, the data entry source, the data extension entry source. If the email doesn't include that field that you're using, it's going to throw that validation error. And then the last three tips that I have were for most of the Salesforce sales and service cloud activities. So I did want to recommend that we shouldn't use, the journey builder or those sales and service cloud activities for any bulk updates. So don't really, it's not meant to be used as a substitute for, the data import wizard or the data loader. It's not really meant for those bulk updates as well. And then also just limit the number of fields that are being updated on the selected object that you have configured. And then avoid any high volume updates to objects with, a lot of related records. So an object that could have campaign members or opportunity records as well. Thank you all for joining. We have some time, we have 10 minutes left. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Michelle, and thanks, Tim and Lakshmi, for answering the questions during the session. So I see one question in the chat which is not yet answered, Michelle. Can this use case be summarized as below? I think this is related to the use case that you just mentioned.
Yep.
So records of the lead are synced from Sales Cloud to Marketing Cloud every 15 minutes. And then a scheduled job is created in Marketing Cloud to send an email if these record fields meet criteria. Plus create a task in Sales Cloud.
Yeah. So yeah, you can definitely use that use case. So if there's a job if it's creating a data extension, or also you can even use a Salesforce entry source. And that'll even give it more of a real time. Those contacts or those leads could enter the journey in more of a real time, and you can set the criteria there as well. If it is complex, you might have to do more of the, that scheduled job, which I'm assuming is, maybe a SQL query that's segmenting that audience. But then you can have them enter a data extension, and then again, you would be able to create the email or task similarly to how we just went through it.
And the next one is a question related to the date time values. And I see this is tricky and leads to some confusion between different time zones and then different time values that are set on the CRM and are set on the Marketing Cloud instance. So the question is, if we sync date time fields from SFMC to CRM via journey activities, in which time zone the value will it have?
So that depends on a few different things. So it will first depend on your org settings, but also each Salesforce user has their own personal time zone settings. So, let's say it is pulling through, a user could have time zone in Pacific time. That will reflect to that user in Pacific time. So it definitely is good practice to keep that in mind as you're syncing that date time. That's a good question.
Yeah, I have had some challenges with syncing the time.
They're tricky.
CRM.
Yeah.
And then the CRM in that even is getting the date field from a different external tool. So that again is getting converted to CRM, and then from CRM to Journey Builder, it's getting converted. So it needs thorough check on the exact time that is syncing.
Yep.
Hey, Josna, can I ask a question directly to Michelle?
Sure. Go ahead, please.
Michelle, can you describe, and I'm sorry, I'm pretty new to MC. but
Okay.
can you describe the use case that you had just demonstrated?
Yeah.
In like couple of lines, like, data comes in from Salesforce, and is it a manual process that you're sending it out? Sending out the email, is that a manual process right now, the one that you demonstrated, or it's automated?
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So we'll say, yeah, the data, so we have the Marketing Cloud Connect set up. The data is syncing from Salesforce every 15 minutes. You can schedule it. They're called through synchronized data extensions. Let's say we have an automation built to create the data extension. So you are creating your segmented audience that you want to receive this lead email, this welcome introductory email. And then once you have that data extension, you can build the journey. So we have that data extension. So once customers get pulled into that data extension, they will enter the journey and receive that introductory email. And then that task will also be created automatically. So based on your schedule settings, maybe it'll be easier if I go here. So based on your schedule settings here on your left, you can have it viewed on, you can have it scheduled on, hourly basis, or run, you just only want this to happen to run once. Let me just show you. So let's say we have a data extension. We have an email. Save this. We'll choose the data extension quickly. Filter that. So, right, so this will be automated. Once you have your data extension, and let's say it's getting automated by an automation, you can have your schedule type here. So you can even see, you can have a recurring, or you can actually run it based off of that automation that you have, if it was tied to that automation. So then after that, it's just automatically running and doing these, sending the email to each customer who enters the data extension, and also creating that task for each lead.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Michelle. I don't see any other questions. Everyone, if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute and ask them directly. We do have a few more minutes. I think we can call it a wrap, Michelle. Thanks for joining, everyone, and thank you, Michelle, for presenting this session and sharing your insights about the Journey Builder. Can we limit the audience within the journey? That's one question that I see.
Yes, so we can. So it depends on, your audience will depend on your entry source, right? So if you have a data extension, you can add segment your data extension a couple ways. You can use data filters, or you can also just do it via SQL. So that'll be via an automation studio. And then you can also filter it within the actual journey itself. So if you were to see here, right, you can filter context right here. Even within further, if you wanted to do it within that data extension before they enter the journey.
And I see another follow-up question asking if we can limit it by the count. I don't see any specific feature wherein we can say this journey can let in only 1,000 people, but I think this can be achieved using the goals or the exit criteria, if I'm not wrong.
Yep.
So,
yep.
Yeah, and like daily audience, there is no out-of-the-box feature available within the Journey Builder. We can do it only via SQL queries or the filters. I think that is it. So thank you, everyone. So I'll be posting this recording soon at the earliest possible. And we hope to see you again next this Thursday for the next session. So Tim is going to present on the flow control activities and then pausing the journey throttling and so on. So that's going to be informational. Make sure that you're attending all the sessions in this series. It is the fundamental series, is something which everybody should be aware of. Everybody who is working in the marketing cloud space, Journey Builder is some common thing that everyone should be using. And these fundamental, all the features that are covered in the fundamental series are like the mandatory, like all the features that everyone will be using in general. Good to
JB, can
know
I
all
just
these
add?
things.
Can I just add something?
Sure.
This is Gilda from Salesforce. I'm so glad you're doing these series because, and thank you everybody for joining. I just want to say what you just said is key. During these sessions, it's extremely important as the presenters presenting these concepts for you to truly understand the fundamentals of not only what they're saying, but also visualize this happening. While it's good to have a good memorization, but it's also good for you to see this from your perspective, right? How are you going to build that journey? How does that journey make sense for your customers? And how does all of this kind of tie in together? So it's really important as you go through these to really ask questions pertaining to scenarios that are running through your mind as you go, as the presenter is speaking. And I know there's a Slack channel that's established for this. So definitely, if you have questions after these sessions, this is the importance of the Slack channel. Go back, watch the recording, ask questions, make sure you understand fundamentally and conceptually what is being presented and shared, and ask the presenters or ask any of us these questions, because we really want you to understand the basics of how all of this works.
It's always good to listen to you, Gilda. Thank you for joining. Yes, we are very happy to answer any of the questions. Even after the session, we are available on the Slack. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.
See you in the next.
Hi, everyone. Great job.
Thanks, Gilda. Bye.